Welcome to the video lectures on analog electronics. Myself, Dr. Shoumik Poddar, Assistant Professor, Electronics and Communication Engineering Department, Guru Nanak Institute of Technology. The course code is EE303, contact is 3 and credit is 3. Today, we shall discuss part 1 of module 3. Now, before going to the detailed discussion of this part 1 module 3, let us have a look onto the lesson plan of this module. In module 3, the topics to be discussed are transistor amplifier, into which the different subtopics are different coupling techniques, RC coupled amplifier, functions of all components, derivation of voltage gain, current gain, input impedance, output impedance, high frequency model of transistors, hybrid pi model, frequency response characteristics, expression for lower and upper half frequencies, bandwidth and concept of wide band amplifier. The instruction hour is set to be 5, and this module 3 is belonging to the course outcome 2. That is, after studying this module, the student will be able to analyze the transistor amplifier. The prerequisites to understand this module are fundamentals on Kirchhoff's voltage current law, Thevenin's theorem, AC analysis of capacitor, differential equation, BJT fundamentals and matrix. The difference between module 2 and module 3 is that in module 2 we had analyzed the biasing, that is the DC analysis of any transistorized amplifier. Then we had discussed the different parameters of common emitter and emitter follower circuits using the hybrid parameter model. Now we will encapsulate all the ideas gained from module 2 into module 3, where we are designing the practical amplifier and its several advantages, disadvantages, its analysis, means derivation of its parameters vigorously. However, we will concentrate on the part 1 of this module 3. I have divided the entire module 3 into 3 parts. Part 1, part 2 and part 3. In part 1, I have included the topics as different coupling techniques, RC coupled amplifier, function of all components and derivation of voltage gain. Because I think the module 3 is quite complicated than the module 2, and the students need to involve much more time to understand this module 3 effectively. The different coupling techniques are RC coupled, transformer coupled and direct coupled. Now, first of all, we have to know what is coupling. Coupling means the attaching one thing from one place to the another place. So, this concept is applicable in practical amplifier, because in a single stage amplifier, whatever we have learned in our module 2, we had calculated voltage gain, current gain, power gain, etc.
But when we are thinking about the practical amplifier, that voltage gain of a single stage amplifier is not sufficient to produce the desired output, and also there is a phase reversal for a common emitter amplifier, so that is also a major concern. So in case of practical amplifier, we have to add several amplifiers so that their conjugation can produce a lump sum output, which is one hand is desirable one, and second thing is most useful one also. So when we are adding several amplifiers with each other, then there is a question how the signals will be transferred from one stage to the another. So that question can be answered by this coupling. That means if we couple the previous stage output to the next stage input, then there is a easy way for this transmission. Now that coupling will be of three types. One is RC couple, second one is transformer couple, third one is the direct couple. Let us introduce these three coupling one by one in the next slides. First one is RC coupled. If we look into the circuit delicately, we will see that the signal is connected with the first amplifier in a voltage divider biasing mode. That is, the first stage is a voltage divider common emitter amplifier. Next, we have observed that the output of the first stage is going to the base of the transistor for the next stage through a capacitor, that is this portion. So that means the signal of the previous stage is coupled through the capacitor to the second stage, and the second stage is also the exact replica of the first stage, because in the second stage, if we change the resistor and the capacitor value, then the amplifier will produce a different kind of not only different kind of output, but its stability becomes disturbed. This transistor has a fixed Q point depending on this R1, R2, RL, RE. But if we change this transistor Q point, then there is a mismatching between these output to its input, because we had learned from our module 2 that the signal will be amplified on the basis of the Q point. If the transistorized amplifier has no Q point, then it is impossible to amplify the signal and to get the correct fidelity. So that's why the Q point location should be same, so that the distortionless signal will be achieved at the end of this amplifier. So that's why the second stage biasing circuit should be same with the first stage biasing circuit. Again, I am repeating that this circuit arrangement of the first stage transistor should be exactly same with the second stage. Otherwise, the Q points of the two transistors will be different, and consequently this signal will not be correctly amplified at the end of this amplifier. Now in this case, if we see that the signal, main signal is coupled through this C-in capacitor, because we know that this capacitor is called coupling capacitor, and in case of single stage it is also a coupling capacitor to couple the output to the load. But here, as I have no load but another set of CE amplifier, so you can say that the C suffix C capacitor will behave as input coupling capacitor for the second stage and output coupling capacitor for the first stage. I am reiterating that this capacitor C suffix C will behave as output coupling capacitor for the first stage but act as input coupling capacitor for the second stage. So for this stage, this capacitor will behave just like this capacitor, and this CE is nothing but the bypass capacitor to avoid any negative feedback effect. This is also the same capacitor attached in parallel with the RE resistance, and this final CC is basically coupled the output of the second stage to the load. So let us have a look on to the features of this RC coupled amplifier. The signal will produce across this load resistance RL or RC. Then it will be coupled through this capacitor to the next stage. That's why this amplifier is called RC coupled. Means output first it will be developed across the R, then it will be coupled through the C. So I have written that the response of one stage developed across RL is coupled through CC into the next stage. It has a good maintenance of DC stability because already it is mentioned that this R1, R2, RL, RE value will be same for the next stages. So therefore it will maintain DC bias stability excellently. Third point is that prevention of any kind of DC interaction between amplifiers. So that means it is purely AC amplifier. It is purely AC amplifier because in case if we have applied any DC signal instead of this alternating signal, the DC signal will be blocked by this C-in, so there is no possibility for the amplification of the DC signal. Next point is satisfactory frequency response. We will learn about this because it will maintain almost constant voltage gain across a wide range of frequency. Mostly used amplifier, because in case of audio amplifiers, this amplifier is vastly used. Poor low frequency response due to capacitive effect. It is very important, although it has a satisfactory frequency response, means it will maintain almost constant voltage gain over a specific bandwidth, but this circuit will not produce the satisfactory frequency response at the low frequency. What is frequency response? Frequency response means the response of the circuit depending on the frequency of the input signals. So the circuit will not respond satisfactorily when the input signal is low. So it will be useful for the medium frequency or the high frequency. Next one, due to this type of behavior, it has a narrow bandwidth, because as we have observed that it has a poor low frequency response, so we have to cut down this low frequency range. So it will be only satisfactory for this high frequency and the mid frequency. So therefore it has a narrow bandwidth, means its operation region will be narrower. Next is that the output resistance, because this output is RL of this RC coupled amplifier is sufficiently higher than any other device connected at the front end, because as it is specially used for the audio amplifier, so if we connect the loudspeaker has a impedance of ohm range, whereas this load resistance is in order of kilo ohm, so it's much higher. And it's very few ohm the load loudspeaker, but this resistance in order of kilo ohm or hundreds of ohm. So due to this mismatch between this resist impedance from this connecting device with the load with the collector resistance, this circuit will have poor impedance matching. So it will not be useful as a power amplifier, means it will not transfer the maximum power to the load. So the load will not be driven smoothly if we use this type of amplifier. And lastly, it has a low voltage and the power gain, as already explained earlier. Next coupling is direct coupled amplifier, where we have seen that the almost same circuit is present, but the coupling, means the output from one transistor to the another transistor, is directly going to it, means there is no capacitor here. So that's why the coupling is called the direct coupled. So what is its features? The features are the amplifier couples response from one stage to the another directly, means this path. AC signal irrespective of frequency can be applied due to the absence of any capacitor. So there is no chance of capacitive reactance which is dependent on the frequency. So any kind of frequency that can easily process from one stage to the next stage. Third one is that DC level circuits are used to match the output DC level, because this RB1, RC1, they are used to match the output DC level. It is specially used for low frequency response. It is specially used for low frequency response because as no capacitors are present, so there is no chance of DC blocking. So it is DC or the very low frequency blocking. So it is specially used for the low frequency response, and it is simpler to design and have a low cost compared to the RC couple due to the absence of capacitors. The frequency response is based, because as there is no capacitive effect, so it can amplify any type of frequency signals. So therefore its bandwidth is also very high and its frequency response is also very good, because there is no capacitive nonlinear effect due to the capacitors. So its frequency response is almost constant, excellent. It is used in differential amplifier, op-amp and television receiver, where the video signals are being generated, are received. Next one is the transformer coupled amplifier. Here we have seen that the collector of the first transistor is connected to the primary winding of the transformer, whereas the secondary of the transformer is coupled to the base of the second stage. So that means the coupling is done with the help of a transformer, and the output is also collected from the secondary of the another transformer. Means there is absence of resistor, so there is a no chance of resistive loss, power loss or voltage drop. And we know that transformer has a coil mean inductor whose inductance XL, which is equals to J omega L. Omega means 2 pi F. So it will easily process DC, low frequency signal, 2 pi FL. So it will easily process the low frequency signal, but for high frequency it will create some disturbance, because when the frequency will be higher, the XL will be higher, so the transformer will produce sufficient power loss here. So this type of transformer is specially used for the low to mid frequency, and the features of the transformers are: primary winding of a transformer acts as collector of the previous stage, and the secondary winding transfer the signal to the base of the next stage. This type of coupling improves the impedance matching very much, because already mentioned that is due to the presence of coil, its inductance will not be sufficiently high. So this impedance will be matched with the load impedance, so the maximum power will be transferred to the load. This type of amplifier is specially designed for the power amplifier. The overall circuit gain is higher than the RC coupled due to low loss in transformer winding. Wider frequency response is difficult to and costlier to achieve. Commonly used in power amplification. Frequency distortion is high due to the presence of coil. It will create the hum noise at the high frequency and electromagnetic interference due to generation of the magnetic field. So due to these features, the transformer coupled amplifier is not used for the audio amplifier case. It will be used for the final stage of the audio amplifier, where the power is being boosted. It is specially used for the power amplifier, not the voltage amplifier. So in our course, special emphasis is given onto the RC coupled amplifier. So again, I have introduced this RC coupled amplifier. This stage is repeated once, and the coupling is performed by using this collector capacitance CC. Now, the function of different components of the RC coupled amplifier. First, we have looked into the C-in, that is this capacitor, C-in. C-in, it is called the input coupling capacitor for the AC signal and the blocking capacitor for the DC signal, because the capacitive reactance XC is written as 1 by J 2 pi F C-in. Instead of omega, I have directly written 2 pi F. So when F is high, means AC signal, then XC will be lower. So that means the AC signal will be passed through the capacitor. But in case of DC signal, this F is 0, so it becomes infinity. So reactance becomes infinity, means it is highly reactive to DC, means it will always oppose the DC signal to pass. Therefore, the C-in called the blocking capacitor for DC. The input AC signal will be coupled by this capacitor to excite the base of the first stage transistor. As we have seen that the signal will be coupled to the capacitor and it will excite the transistor so that it will produce the collector current and the output voltage also. Depending on the frequency of the signal, the coupling action will be different, so the excitation will be varied. So what is the meaning? suppose I have applied an AC signal, but I have varied the frequency of the AC signal from low to high. So when I have varied the AC signal from low to high, for low frequency, the signal will exhibit the higher reactance. For the high frequency signal, it will experience the lower reactance. So therefore, the excitation will be varied, because when we are supplying the low frequency signal, it will be initially blocked by this capacitor, or it will be mildly processed through the capacitor. So the amplitudes of the signal will be sufficiently low, so it will not excite the in base of the transistor so much to produce a sufficient voltage gain. But in case of high frequency, it will easily pass and it will automatically produce a satisfactory voltage gain. R1. R1 means it is the resistor which is called the bias resistor, as it supply proper DC bias to the transistor. R2 is called the bias resistor, which is also provides the voltage divider bias to the transistor. That means this R1, R2 basically provides the voltage divider bias to the transistor. How? Because already we had learned from the module 2 that the voltage divider bias VTH, that is this voltage, is equal to the VCC into R2 by R1 plus R2. So therefore this R1, R2 will produce the DC bias to the transistor. Next we will go to the RL. RL is the load resistor or the collector resistance across which the output of the transistor V01 or V02 will be developed. I have concentrated on the V01. V01 already calculated from the previous module, that is minus HFE IV into RL. That means HFE of this transistor minus due to the 180 degree phase reversal minus HFE IB, that is the base current, into the RL. HFE is the AC beta or forward current gain in CE mode of the transistor. So this HFE is AC beta or forward current gain in CE mode of the transistor. Next one is the RE, that is the emitter resistance. Emitter resistance means this resistor provides the negative feedback voltage VE is equals to IERE. Look here, the suffix are capital low uppercase letter. That means when we are setting the DC bias, so the DC emitter current will produce the DC emitter voltage VIE into RE, which further prevents the increase of this base current. Thus, the DC bias stability will be achieved. In case of AC signal, the AC emitter current will also develop a potential drop across this RE if we are not considering the CE. So the AC input signal, in the case of AC input signal, the negative feedback voltage V suffix small e is equals to IE into RE. Look here, this is the AC voltage, this is the DC voltage. Next one is the CE. It is the most vital parameter for this RC coupled amplifier, because if we are not connecting this capacitor, then automatically the transistor will not produce the desired output, because we have explained, I have explained now. The capacitive reactance of this capacitor is 1 by J 2 pi FCE. So during the AC signal, this capacitor will produce a very considerably low reactance. Now, if we see into the circuit, this capacitive reactance will be in parallel with the resistance. So the effective impedance will be lowered. Again, I'm telling that during the AC signal, this capacitor will produce the low reactance. So the low reactance is parallel with the RE resistance. So in that case, the effective impedance will be lowered. So what is the effect? When the effective impedance will be lowered, that means there is the potential drop which was thought to be appeared across the RE, that potential drop will not be developed, means the potential drop will be almost zero. That means there is no chance of negative feedback. So this capacitor is called bypass capacitor because it will bypass the AC signal so that it will not be able to produce any voltage drop across the RE. The last parameter is CC. It is called the output coupling capacitor for AC signal of the first stage and blocking capacitor for the DC signal of the second stage. That means because we have seen that this signal is processed through the CC, so this CC is the input coupling capacitor of the first stage, and this capacitor is the blocking capacitor, also the output coupling capacitor of the second stage. Due to this reactance 1 by J 2 pi FCC, the output AC signal from the second stage will be coupled through the capacitor CC to the final load resistance. Now the advantages of the RC coupled amplifier: it requires cheap components, that is capacitors, resistors. It is small, lightweighted. It provides uniform voltage amplification over a wide frequency range from few hertz to few megahertz. Minimum frequency distortion due to absence of transformer. Disadvantages: significant voltage drop across collector resistors, so the power transfer to the connected device at the end is lower. Impedance matching is poor, and poor performance is low frequency. Applications: the applications of this RC coupled amplifier is mainly in the audio amplifier and the public address system for voltage amplification purpose. Now we are going to derive the voltage gain of the RC coupled amplifier. I have divided the entire circuit into the two halves. The first half is very common to all of you. That is the first half. It is already discussed, its biasing stability and the voltage gain. It is the corresponding H parameter model of the first half. Now, but when we are considering the total RC coupled, we have seen that the output is coupled to the base, where the base is connected to the R1, R2, and the base resistance is the HIE. So during the AC analysis, when the VCC will be grounded, this R1, R2 and the HIE will be in parallel with this RL, because in this case you have seen that the HIE is parallel with the RB. RB is the parallel combination of R1, R2. So R1 parallel R2 is in parallel with the HIE. So this case is repeated during the signal coupling to the second transistor. So therefore V01, what is V01? V01 is the output of the first transistor. So when we are calculating the V01, the effective load will be equal to RL. R1, R2 and the HIE of the second transistor. So I just declared V01 is equals to minus HFE VI, the equivalent resistance, that is RC parallel 1 by HOE, because this is, see here, this RC parallel 1 by HOE is for the first transistor, and which is again parallel with the R1, R2 and HIE. This is for the second stage. So it is very crucial to write down the first stage voltage, output voltage, because first stage output voltage is not only for the first stage, it is also coupled with the second stage. So the second stage input resistance are also included in the calculation, divided by the input impedance of the first stage, that is the HIE. Now AV1, that is the voltage gain of the first stage, equals to V01 divided by VI. Then it becomes like HFE RC parallel 1 by HOE parallel R1 R2 HIE. Now this V01 will act as the input voltage, input signal for the second stage. That's why I have written V01 equals to VI2. AV2 means a second stage voltage gain. Second stage voltage gain, remember, in the second stage means when we are not considering the first stage, just only the second stage voltage gain AV2 at no load. Suppose I am not connecting any load, so therefore AV2 at no load is nothing but the V0 divided by VI2. Now V0, when I am calculating the V0, so we are seeing the circuit. When I am only considering the second stage, what will happen? The V0 will be appeared across this load resistance RL, means RC. So what is happening? V0 can be written as minus IC into RC by V01. So minus IC I can written as HFE into IB into RC, and we can write this V01 not in our earlier equation, but in point of view of the second stage, because when we are considering V01 from the first stage, it will be a just complicated expression. But when we are looking into the second stage, it is nothing but the base current into base resistance, because this R1, R2 are combined with the first stage. So therefore, the VI2 can be written as IB into HIE. IB is the input current for the second stage. HIE is the base resistance for the second stage. So V0 by VI2 equals to minus HFE into RC by HIE. Now the overall voltage gain will be AV1 into AV2. So when we are combined the two amplifiers, these two amplifiers, the overall voltage gain will be equal to the multiplication of the voltage individual voltage gain. Therefore it should be very important. So therefore the overall voltage gain will be AV1 into AV2. Now putting down the values of AV1, AV2, it becomes HFE square RC parallel 1 by HOE parallel R1 parallel R2 parallel HIE divided by HIE square. So that means now if we look into the expression of the AV overall, there is no negative sign, because this negative and the earlier negative will be cancelled. That means the first stage will produce the phase reversal of the actual input. The second stage will produce the phase reversal of the first stage output. So when we are looking at the end of the circuit and when we are comparing with our actual input, we will see that there is no phase reversal. We will see that there is no phase reversal. That means totally 360 degree or 0 degree phase shift will occur. That means the signal will be the same phase of the input signal. So thank you for listening the lecture.